Today's guest is Pete Zeppetella. He's the CEO at Zepps Gear. So Pete, thank you for coming on the show.
You're welcome. How you doing? I'm so glad to be on the show. Thank you for inviting me to the show.
Yeah, perfect. Now, you're an entrepreneur. You do many things, but you come from the carpenter trade. So,
Yep.
when did that start for you?
Oh boy, that's over 30 years ago I've been in the trades. So I've been a carpenter for over 30 years. Quite a while. My parents pushed me into it, to be honest. So
Oh, really? I mean, it's not always the parents pushing, kids into trades. Did they have sort of trades background?
my dad, he's blue collar, right? He's passed away now, but he was a blue collar. He worked at Port Weller dry docks here and worked on the boats. He fixed all the big ships and stuff like that. So he was into that stuff, and then they pushed me into blue collar work, right?
Yeah.
And get into the trades, and that's how I became a carpenter. And I started off in residential. Did residential for many years, over a dozen years, framing houses, all the way from finishing houses to floor, foundations, like the whole 9 yards, and then got into the union, and now I do scaffolding. Right, I did farm work, also built helped build the casino down here in Niagara Falls, stuff like that. So I've been around.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Okay, very cool. Um, so what made you decide to dip your toes into entrepreneurship?
To be honest, the reason I actually dipped my toes into entrepreneurship is just because I seen a need here, an actual real need that in construction we need it, right? And it's something that will help us be more comfortable, save injuries in the long run. And I'm just looking out for my fellow brothers out there, like all the construction workers, welders, everybody in construction can benefit with this. Where if they got to go out and work at heights, this is the better option for you, and it protects what protects you also, right?
Sure. Now, I mean, I think maybe give a little background because you didn't start with this goal in mind. You had a
No,
challenge, right? Because this is the fall protection gear, right? It was very uncomfortable.
yeah. So it's a harness friendly jacket. So what happened to me? I'll give you a little bit of a background. Is like everybody else, you go to work every day and stuff, and so what happened to me was I seen these guys, and and it's a brand out there. I don't think they do it anymore. Um, but they had slits in their jackets, and I'm like, wow, like they were just moving better, more optimal, or more task at hand, where you're actually concentrating on what you do instead of being. Let's be honest, when you're uncomfortable, nobody. I don't care what anybody says. They say be uncomfortable. You don't concentrate. You're trying to you're thinking about other stuff, right? You know what I mean? So when you're in the trades, more comfortable you are, now you're actually thinking about what you actually have to do, right? Instead of like, oh, this sucks and I want to go home, right? So to be honest, I seen these guys. I'm like, wow, they got their harnesses underneath their jackets. They move better. They're more comfortable. And they were like really whipping stuff off, right? So I'm like, wow. So I acquired one of these jackets. Gonna be honest, I thought it was like the next thing to sliced bread. I'm like, well, this is awesome. Like I see why they do this now, right? Because I'm like, my shoulders don't hurt as much, like over in the winter time, right? People don't realize over time the compound that you do to yourself when you wearing stuff the way they tell you to wear it, like a harness over your jacket. You're constantly under restriction. And I always tell everybody, take your shirt, pull down on your shirt, and I want you to lift up your arm about 10 times. Now picture a guy like me. I do that all day, 8 hours a day, every day, right? It's not so great. That's why we get shoulder tears and we get injuries over time. And what happened was when I had this jacket, I thought, this is awesome. Try it out. My own fault. I had a slip and I fell. Good thing I was tied off. But what happened was I fell. That jacket actually, picture this, came up and grabbed me like that, right underneath my neck. It pulled the whole jacket up. The harness had nowhere to go. So that's why I went into Zepps Gear and pushed the entrepreneurship for making Zepps Gear, because I'm like, well, there's got to be something better. When I looked online, everything was the same. It was all like this little slit. Oh yeah, this is what it is. No, it's wrong. So I did more studying. I actually went to a company called Intertech. Not a lot of people in Canada have heard of them. Like they're an American company. They're sort of, I always say they're sort of above and beyond. They're the ones that'll test anything for you, where other companies will say, "Oh, we can't test that," right? So I went to them, made sure it was third party tested, and that's why I came into the entrepreneurship with Zepps Gear to make a harness friendly jacket that actually works for you. And I'm actually wearing one right now. You can wear it with or without the harness, obviously. And the thing is, I went the extra step. I even put lanyard loops in the front of it, right? So that way, because these other jackets, we'd always be carrying our lanyards, or you hook them to your belt. Now the lanyard's so low, right? So I listened to the need of everybody, and the need I needed. I was like, this has got to go, right? So the tearaway feature behind the jacket is all patented. The whole thing is patented because I want to make sure it's done right. Because I've seen other people, all of a sudden I started doing stuff, they start trying to copy, and it's like it doesn't work, right? Like I know it doesn't work because I've tried it. I was my own crash test dummy when I did all this, so I know what works and what actually doesn't.
Yeah. And what were the early lessons? Because obviously, as an entrepreneur, you're constantly learning through, trial and error. What were some of the early key lessons?
I'm gonna be honest. The early lessons for me were because I'm just the type of guy, I'm like trying to get everybody on board, right? So as an entrepreneur, you have to watch who you talk to and watch who you give your ideas to be honest. Because there's people out there that'll just, oh, that's a great idea, right? Oh yeah, 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 and they try to take stuff. So you have to be careful of that as an entrepreneur. And when you let things out, I just find maybe it's for me because this is something like completely brand new. It's nobody's ever done anything like this on for blue collar workers, right? It's usually they try to fix products and this and that instead of fixing stuff for us. So it's completely brand new. It's see about so it's for me. I just my lessons are like so I just watch my steps now. I don't take everything for granted what people say anymore because you'll hear some people, oh yeah, yeah, we'll put it in our stores, and then you go back and they're like, stuff like that. So just as an entrepreneur to other entrepreneurs out there, take it slow. And I find if you take it slow, you'll have a better company. Personally, that's my opinion. Don't try to just be like, let's grow and make this happen, right?
Yeah, very cool. So, what were your early steps in commercializing it? How did you get it out there?
So for me, my early steps for commercializing was I so I had my union on board, right? Because they saw, well, whoa, this is actually a good thing. And then I actually ended up joining a company called Prime Line Tools. They actually are in the same industry as you, as roofing, right? They saw, wow, like this is actually a good product, and they helped me push the next level and push it out there to have people knowing about it and have people say, oh, you know what? There's a new product that actually can help us, and have us wear a harness underneath more comfortable now, right? Where we're protected, right? And it makes us comfortable, right? That's the whole thing. And then so that's how we started pushing Zepps gear out into the field.
Yeah. And you also got some exposure, right? Through some of the
Oh,
activities you had.
yeah,
Tell me
so
about
I
that.
got big exposure through the Dragon's Den. That's the biggest exposure I've got so far. I'm gonna be honest, that was my third time trying, and three times the charm, right?
There you
The
go.
first time I tried, I didn't even get past the. I gotta be honest, I didn't even get past the internet, like because you have to fill out a form online, and then from the form, that's when they tell you you could come and do an interview, right?
Yep.
The first one didn't even get an interview, nothing. The second time, did the online waited. Oh, got a message. You can come down for an interview. Boom. I went down. It was actually in Niagara Falls at the Scotia Arena down there. So we went down there. We tried a few years. I think this was just before COVID, and like about I think 2019, 2018 or something like that. And we tried. We got on. Like we talked to them and everything. I thought, oh, it sounds good. No callback, nothing. And we're like, oh. And
Here's
so
a
this.
question though. Between the first submission and the second submission, what did you do
Yep.
different?
To be honest, The submission was the same. I didn't really do anything. It was the same thing. Same with the third. Like it was all about the harness friendly jacket. I think the only thing I did different with the third, because the first time we did it, they didn't ask for videos or nothing. The second time we did it, they actually had, like, I did a video like I'm doing now. So you talk to them like a video and sent it through. So I think it was more the video, and then when people visualize something, they went, "Oh, okay, you know what? Let's give this guy a try." And then the last time was the same thing. Like we did same thing online. Then they wanted you to send in like a video this time, so they upped the game, right? Where it's not just you filling out a form. Now they want you to send a video of what your product, like what you're selling, and blah blah blah, all that stuff. So I sent in the video, and I'm going to be honest, I was shocked. They called. I'm like, "Oh, 3 times? Okay, let's try this." So we went down to the interview. Pretty much my whole, it's a family business, right? So I brought my wife and my daughter. My daughter, she's basically the CEO. Like she's the company person. Like she's the business end. I'm the inventor. I'm the creator that knows what has to happen. Like stuff like that. But she's the person that's taken me to the next level. Thank you, Cicely, by the way. um, so she was in on it too. So we all three of us went down there. We had a really good interview, and yeah, from there they called us. We got onto the show. Me and Cicely went onto the show, and then I got 3 people, and they are not actors or models. There are actually 3 people that are in the trades. I got a firefighter that actually is a firefighter, real firefighter. I got Jamie McMillan. She's actually in the trade. She speaks for the trades, right? She's a welder. She's been an iron worker and a boiler maker, right? So, and then I had another kid. He's an iron worker also. So I actually got people that wear my product that actually say, "Hey, you know what? They're the real deal," right? That's why I always say, "Made for the trades, by the trades," right? Because it's the real deal, right?
I mean, I recognize, at least one or two of those names, and they're very active on social
Yep,
and again speaking. And I know, from my experience or our company's experience dealing with Dragon's Den, that even if you don't record, not all of them air. It's only a percentage of them that air.
that's true.
So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I mean, did you think through the visual presentation beforehand? Like, what was your strategy?
So my strategy, I'm gonna be honest. So my strategy when we went in, I said I'm gonna tell them straight out. Because I build scaffolding right now for a living, right? Like I did the Burlington Skyway. I do a lot of bridges. We do events, everything. So before talk to Tower, I work for a company called Tower Scaffolding. So before then, I talked to them, and I was ready to say. I told them straight out, I'll do the jump. I'll do my own. I'll be my own test dummy. I'll build a scaffold for the stage and the whole 9 yards. And I think that's what really got me. Like they liked that. They were like,
You
"Oh,
jumped, you
they
mean
like."
like you basically a controlled thing where you sort of went off the edge and tested your jacket in front of
Oh
them?
yeah, that's how I my first tests. That's the way they were. They were actually controlled tests in my like. The first time I did it was outside on a tree with my buddy, and then I went into my garage because it didn't look so great. You know what I mean? Guy hanging from the tree, like, "Oh no, this one didn't work." Like, that's not so great.
Well,
So
you might get some calls to, the police or something like that. What's going
right,
on there?
exactly, yeah. So when I said that to the Dragons, then like when I did with the producers and everything, they're like, "Oh, okay, right on." And then when they said, "Okay, you're on," they said, "Well, due to liabilities, we don't want you to jump." So that's how we got the dummy involved. And actually, the firefighter that was there, and I have a friend of mine, he's a firefighter down here in St. Catharines. They helped me get the dummy. It's actually from the firefighters hall. That's the test
Oh,
dummy they
wow.
actually use for firefighters, right?
Wow.
So we got the dummy from them, and
I
then
mean, was
that's
that an
why
easy
we set up
process?
that
I mean,
dummy.
you just, you
Sorry.
borrow an official dummy. Was that an easy process?
Right? So it's an official dummy for the process. So yeah, so if you guys, I don't know if you've watched the episode, but if you watch that episode, I'm on the 3rd episode, and I'm the third person. That's pretty funny, eh? 333, and I'm the third person on that episode. We actually just had a dummy fall. It actually freaked out the dragon, so that was great. Actually, that was really cool. And but it actually, I think it was that's what really got the dragons because they seen the visual. Now they seen how an because people say, "Oh, your harness, well, it's in the middle of your shoulder blades." So yeah, but you don't understand is when it's activated, your harness does not stay there. You could tighten it up as much as you want. It's made to be above your head. The whole reason, like when I did my studying on harnesses, the reason is so that way it doesn't not like it sits down there, so it doesn't knock you out, and it goes past your head, and then you can get rescued. Like if you know what I mean. Like if you have a rescue guy, he can tie off to you, rescue you up, or they can tie a rope to the D ring of the harness, pull you out. So when the dragon seen the harness up there and they say, "Oh," and we showed them, "Look, this is why we did what we did, and this is why it's a tearaway back." They got the concept. Now we see why this is actually a safety issue that's out there. There's a big risk factor, right? So that's why I made comfortable jackets for everybody.
Interesting. Now, the aftermath. W-
Sorry.
The aftermath. The episodes air. What do you
Yep.
see on your end in terms of emails or interest?
To be honest, I got a lot of emails and I got a lot of people. Oh, I'll invest in you, and I'm gonna be honest. We didn't ask for a lot of money. The whole purpose was for to get a dragon or get a couple dragons because the whole purpose is we need their help. Because, like I said, I'm not a big business person. Learning, right? As an entrepreneur, it's always a learning game, right? And I have like said Cicely again to help me learn, right? Because she's in Brock University, she knows more of this. She's studying to be a lawyer, so she really is in tune with stuff like this. And the thing was, so that way they can be our guidance to the next step, right? For like because now we have to start publicizing stuff and we have to start like getting commercials out there, you know what I mean, and pushing stuff out so it's more available to the public, right? In the public's eye. So that was the whole purpose of us getting onto the dragons. But it was a pretty big process. So we had a lot of people. It was a good thing. We had a lot of emails. Now we got more people like saying, "Oh yeah, we want to get in on this jacket. We want to." I have more people like wanting to. It opened. I think it opened up people's eyes, right? Where it's like, yeah, you know what? Like to be honest, like this weekend, I'm going to be talking to a guy. He teaches like harness, right? All harness stuff, right? So he actually teaches the fall arrest course and stuff like that. And he's like, yeah, you know what? Like that should be in the courses. So I'm going to go talk to him, right? So it's opened up stuff like that for me too. Don't get me wrong. Before this, I was pushing for that. Like I was always going to like our hall when they teach the harness course. They actually say this is the jacket you should use, right? And they explain why. Like and there's other places out here that do the same thing for me, right? So had more people calling and reaching out on emails and stuff like that to say, hey, you know what, this is a great idea. We want in, right? So that's a great thing that's happening from the dragons.
Awesome. Cool. I mean, is there anything that I did not ask you, but you wanted to share?
I think you got it all. Like, I'll give you a recap of the jacket if anybody hasn't seen Zepps Gear. So what it is, it's a harness friendly jacket, right? It comes with the lanyard loops, has a tearaway feature on the back, right? I went one step further actually because I was on a bridge and I was losing some radios. And if you look at everything that's made out there, all the radios are on the outside. Even cops, radios on the outside. They have the cord coming around their neck or coming up to here or coming around their back. So what I did is I incorporated in my jacket. There's a radio pocket on the inside of my jacket at the bottom. So now you can put your radio in there. There's a little loop cover. Actually, well, since I got you on video, I can show you. There's
There you
the
go.
bottom. I don't know if you can see that.
At the bottom of the inside of the jacket, right?
Yeah, on the
I'm
inside
explaining
there.
only because some people may be listening to you on the podcast. Yeah, I
Yeah.
see.
So at the bottom, and then there's actually a little flap in there, so that way you can pin the cord. The cord's not loose in your jacket. And then
Yeah.
there's a zipper, just a zipper here. So this zipper is a mic zipper. You
Okay.
unzip
On the
it,
chest.
let your
Yeah.
mic up, and attach your mic to here. And then that's it. You attach your mic up top. So now all you have is your mic exposed, and your actual radio is protected from the elements. No cord dangling, no cord around your neck, no cord around your back. That's
Yeah.
all gone also, right? So we took it a step further too, right?
It's
My goal is to make people more comfortable and to make it easier for guys like us, like I said, task at hand. Now you can concentrate on the work instead of just being miserable all day and going, "Oh man, this sucks," right? Now you're more comfortable, right? And hey, let's be honest, man, it's a cool looking jacket, right?
Perfect. Well, I love your
And they
process.
do come in high vis, just so you know, it's not just black. I'm just wearing a black one, but they come in high vis.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Pete. I love this, love watching your progress. So thanks
Thank
for
you so
sharing.
much.